I don't often do dedicated review videos unless it's for products that I know I'm personally going to use and so therefore I know you'll use. But stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to show you some cheaper alternatives as well. Full disclaimer here, Viva have actually sent me this product, but I'm going to give you my honest review and see what it can do. I'm not going to show you an unboxing, I'm not going to waste my time showing you how much padding is in there and foam and cardboard. It's in there, it's packaged well. I've taken it out, but I haven't actually unwrapped it yet, so let's get started. So my first impressions are it looks like a pretty decent machine. And it comes with instructions. It comes with, it looks like 2 slide hammers, suction caps, this grabbing finger thing. I guess that's for, we'll figure it out. And then a whole bunch of, I guess, the studs that get welded on. And you basically got one thick cable and a gun. The physical size of the machine is probably a little bit bigger than maybe a shoebox. It's not that big, but it weighs 23 or 24 kilos. And as you can see here, I've got a motorcycle tank with quite a few dents. There's some on this side and there's a few smaller ones on the other side. This tank actually came off a GS 550. I've had it for a while, I just need to get the dents out. So this is basically everything it comes with. The 2 hammers, this one looks like it attaches to the gun itself. This is a manual hammer, suction cup, and this funny little device which goes with the zigzag wire and all the attachments, and I'm assuming the attachments to attach those, a hook. And yeah, I think the instructions are okay, but I would like to have seen a little bit more information on how to use it. I've never used one before, so I'm kind of learning here. Actually quite impressed with it. It comes with the right plug for here. This is an Australian plug and I'm stoked. I don't have to change it. For the settings on the machine as well as the attachments you're going to use, there's pretty much an illustration and there's 2 switches and a dial. Pretty self-explanatory on the machine itself. First up, strip the paint wherever you're going to do the dent repair. In my case, I'm going to be stripping the paint off the entire tank. So the paint stripper is not quite attacking the primer they've used on this. It must be pretty tough stuff. However, there's some, looks like some secret little hidden things that are going on down here because that is body filler. A few more dents than we first anticipated. In order to use this, all you really have to do is attach the slide hammer that goes into the gun, attach the attachment at the end that you need to use, make sure you attach your earth, but clean the paint off wherever you attach the earth, keeping that earth as close as possible. Clean off the paint wherever you're going to do your stud welding, and use your slide hammer to pull that dent out. As you can see, it's pulling the dent out quite well, but the only thing that's not working is my mounting. Yeah, I didn't do that very well, did I? So just like anybody purchasing one of these machines, I went about pulling the dent out by pretty much starting from the center, which I learnt is not the right way to do it. So don't do it this way, but I'll show you that in a second. And the other valuable thing that I learned is not to be so heavy-handed with the slide hammer. Just pull the dent out just enough to get it flush with the parent metal. And because I didn't do it the right way from the beginning, now I have a whole bunch of high spots knocked down. I can't just sand them off because if I do, that'll thin the metal out so much, you'll have all these little weak spots. And not to mention the holes that I've created for myself because I was pulling this metal so hard that it actually ripped out a little bit of the metal. I'll go back and weld those up later, but this shouldn't happen if you do it correctly. So all those little high bumps, I'm just gonna have to knock down some way, and I found a little trick to do it, which is just using the slide hammer and the dent puller on the top of each one of those and knock it backwards. So just knock it back in again. As you can see here, I'm working on the outside of the dent, working from the outside edge and working my way around into the center, which is the deepest point. And this seems to work a lot better, like a hell of a lot better. So that's how I'd recommend doing it. I think it's the correct way to do it. Just be mindful though, this is a method of getting dents out when you can't get to the other side of the panel. And it's designed so that you can get majority of the dent out, but you're never gonna get it back to where it was originally. This is just so you don't have to use a massive thick layer of body filler. You only have to do a skim. And if you've ever seen body filler that's been used and they've caked it on, over time it just cracks. So it avoids that issue later down the track. You could spend as long as you wanted on this, but at the end of the day, it's just a matter of getting it as close as you can so you can use as minimal body filler as possible. So let's be honest here, depending on the amount of damage you've got on your tank and where you live, it's probably going to cost a couple $100 to get it repaired, and you can buy one of these things for a couple $100. This one's a little bit more expensive than that, but not too much more. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, a few cheaper alternatives to doing the same thing. The first one, there's a link in the description to a machine very similar to this one. It's just a bit cheaper than this, quite a bit cheaper. And the other one is using either a nut or a bolt. So these triangle attachments are the ones that I've been using the most, and you can get a ton of use out of them because you can flip them 3 times before you ever need to swap them out. Well, the nut and bolt method is just attaching either the head of the bolt or the nut to the side of the tank and attach a slide hammer to here and then just keep pulling it out. The downside to doing this is that you have to keep welding that onto the tank, pull it out, cut it off, weld it to a new location. It's just very, very time consuming. If you know of an easier method to getting dents out of a tank that actually works, leave it in the comments. I'm sure I'm not the only one that wants to see that. The pros and the cons. Pros are if you purchase one, you never have to pay someone to do it for you. So you're going to spend the money anyway by repairing your tank. You may as well just purchase one and do it yourself. It's so simple. This machine, personally, the instructions are a little bit average, but if you're watching this video, you don't even need the instructions because I just showed you how to do it. So now that it's got a primer coat on it, you can see it's pulled a majority of the dents out quite well, meaning you don't need too much body filler to finish it off. I could spend way more time on it, however I don't have a use for this tank, so I'm going to put it back into storage, but I'm super impressed with this machine, I can tell you that much. I'll leave a link in the description to this exact one, as well as a few of the cheaper options for you. So there you have it, a dent repair stud welder. If you enjoyed this video, definitely go and check out this one.